Hey guys, welcome to another Cigar Chat brought to you live on CigarFederation.com. Broadcast around the world on the Armed Forces Radio Network. Thank you for tuning in wherever you are out there in the world today. Appreciate you taking some time out of your life to hang out with us. Robbie Raz from Cigar Federation here with you. Logan,
Yo.
What's the baby update?
Pooping a lot, and I'm not sleeping.
Is she running around like Chucky yet?
No, well, baby. I will tell you, want to hear a funny story real quick? I actually got sideways. Our pediatrician was like, made this out to be this whole big thing about, oh yeah, we've got this on-call nurse. This is like the greatest thing since sliced cheese. You can call any time. They'll give us all this advice, right? So we call. It was like Saturday, and she hadn't pooped for like 48 hours, which apparently I found out is normal for a baby if you don't have one. And well, I know you don't, but I'm just
48 hours seems like an awfully long time.
I know. You would think. But
especially in that small of a system.
I know, you would think. But anyways, so, I call in. They're like, okay, well, we need to, it's like this phone queue or whatever. So literally they put it in. They call me back an hour later. And I felt like I was doing like I was talking to tech support in India because it was like a bunch of checklist things. Like, is your baby yellow? I'm like, no, she's not jaundiced. It's like, has your baby eaten? I was like, yes. Like all these questions. And she goes, well, what makes you think she's constipated? And I go, I don't know. I'm not a freaking doctor. That's why I'm calling you. She goes, well, what makes you think that? I go, I don't know. She hadn't crapped in 48 hours. Like, I don't know. Just a logical deduction. I don't really know. And anyways, come to find out it's this piece of crap call center, and I just blasted our pediatrician about it today, and Mr. Chang was not very happy. So anyways, that's really what I've been doing.
So the poop factor of 48 hours is okay?
Apparently it is fairly normal, but when it does happen, it is a blowout. But anyways, that's enough about Callaway's poop. Because she'll, in 18 years, will probably watch this and laugh. Hopefully. But anyways.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Enough of that.
That's fantastic. An epic blowout after 48 hours.
Dude, I mean, it's vicious, bro.
I can imagine. You always hear the stories about babies. All they do is eat and poop, and sleep occasionally. And yours wasn't pooping.
Sounds like me.
So on that note, today we've got Tony Bellato joining us from La Barba Cigars. Tony, thanks for taking the time, man.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I'm excited.
Were you expecting us to open up with a discussion about baby poop?
I'm not surprised.
No, okay, well that's good.
That's good.
So you probably watched the show before then. That's good.
I do.
That's
really
good.
I got a pinboy.
Yes. So actually, Logan, not to keep belaboring the poop issue, but Shooter would like to know, has she pooped yet?
I don't know. That's her mother's responsibility.
Well, not today, but like since the backup.
Oh yeah, blowout.
Okay. Oh, that's right, the epic blowout. Okay.
Fire and brimstone.
Okay, so I digress. No more poop discussions. We'll jump in and actually talk about what we're here to talk about, is cigars. So today I posted up my review of the new. Well, it's not even new yet. Like the upcoming second release from La Barba, the La Barba Purple, and I really enjoyed the cigar.
Thank you.
Yeah, the one that Tony gave us a couple at IPCPR. It was kind of informal, and I know he didn't have too many samples to give out, so thank you for sharing them with us. But I really enjoyed it. It had some real nice sweetness to it, like a nice caramel kind of sweetness on the front, some cedar notes in there, and a nice white pepper spice that all balanced really well. I scored it a 90, which on our range, our scoring range is a box split, right, Logan?
That is a solid score. Anything above an 88 is a good score with us.
Well, but we denote the scores. The scores mean they're all different groups, split. So it's a box split.
The price is coming out of this brain.
Yeah, right. It's an idea you probably stole from somebody else, but so what?
I did, but I made it better. That's all that matters.
That's how you get around in this world. You find somebody else's idea and make it better.
That's all I did.
But no, it fell right into that, and I think, and we were talking about this offline. I got hit with a lot of spice at the end of it, and I attributed that. I even noted this in my review to the cigar being a bit fresh, because I know they were just recently rolled right before you gave them to us, Tony. So I want to revisit this one probably in mid to late October, and I really do think that it's going to be in the running for my top 10 cigars of the year, new release of the year. So.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, really did appreciate, really did enjoy that cigar. So give us, we'll talk more about that particular cigar a little bit later. But give us some background on yourself. I mean, you've got a good background in the industry, and you've done a lot of things since you started. So, so give us some of that background.
Well, my dad and my grandpa started in like 1972. They opened up a book and newsstand, and my dad actually had the idea to put cigars in. So it was like books and newspapers and, like a classic newsstand. And my dad's a big golfer, and they heard about the IPCPR trade show, or the RTDA at the time. And they drove, it's kind of a funny story, they drove a station wagon. They rented and drove a station wagon to New York City, where the trade show was, because they thought everything that they bought at the trade show, they were taking back with them.
Oh.
So this is how green they were,
Yeah.
And at that time, it was like, I think 1972. All the booths were hotel suites, and my dad and my grandpa sat in Carlito Fuente Jr.'s booth, and not one person walked in the entire day. And they were they were one of the first. My dad was one of the first accounts, because he was so green, he couldn't get in to see Macanudo or Punch or any of those old brands. He sat with Carlito and talked to him, and they've been really good friends ever since then. So he was one of the first people in the country to pick up Fuente, and I think 858s were a quarter at the time. So
That's loud.
yeah. So fast forward to me in college. I was going to be a lawyer, and
Weren't we all?
Weren't we all?
at one point.
At one point or another. I'm sure I was a law major at some point. But go ahead, pre-law. But go ahead.
So, the time came for me to decide what I wanted to do, and while I was in college, I fell in love with cigars and wine and craft beer as an adult. I grew up around it, but then I didn't really have a chance to appreciate it. So when I went to college is when I was kind of out on my own and started to appreciate wine. And I'm Italian, so I had all my buddies over at my house in college on Sundays, and we would eat pasta and smoke cigars and drink wine. And that's when I started to really like wine. So subsequently, I moved home. We opened up a new shop, and I went to Cleveland Wine School and got a degree in wine and spirits education. So that's kind of how I ended up where I'm at now.
Wine and spirits education.
Yes.
Cleveland, no less.
Now,
What's that?
Is that like a school, like a real school? Like, I'm not trying to mock, I'm just curious.
No, it is. It's a stepping stone to the Master of Wine program. So I had to go up there. It was awesome because I don't have a college degree, and I kind of left to go drink more. I was in college drinking, and then I was like, I might as well make a career out of this. So I went up to. I was researching different things, and I was always fascinated with the high-end service industry, and I found out that, ironically enough, someone in Cleveland was on their way to be a Master of Wine, and she was teaching the classes, and that's something that you have to do in order to maintain the degree. Went up there and started doing the classes.
So you're like an actual sommelier, like the whole thing where you have to sniff it and be like, smells like Italy, smells like, and you break all that crap down.
That is correct.
Do that. No joke.
I had to do a blind taste. I'm actually going to blow, my own horn here. I'm within the top 2% of toot. I don't know. I'm a Ohio dude.
You're better off tooting yourself, I think. Tooting your own horn.
Exactly.
Yes, I guess that's correct.
Sorry, anyway.
Awkward.
Top 2%.
So I passed the blind taste within the top 2% of everyone in the world on that test. So that's pretty sweet.
Holy crap!
Wow.
Yeah.
And where are you now? Where do you live now?
So I live in Youngstown, Ohio.
Okay. Do you spend much time in Napa?
I don't. I wish I did. I love wine, and I have friends at Napa, and actually my partners in La Barba own Treasure Hunter Wine Company, and I get all kinds. I get a lot of fun samples from them, and I get to experience vicariously through them Napa. But since I decided to do the cigar thing, I've been spending a lot of time in Miami and the Dominican Republic, trying to perfect this, because I love this more than I love wine, I think.
Wow. Huh. So So from where you are as I'll let you go ahead and light your cigar. So from where you are as sommelier level 4, I think is what you said.
3.
Level 3. Now, how many levels are there?
Well, there's 4 levels. The next one would be, it's called the diploma program. So that would be like getting a master's degree.
Okay.
And then from there, then you get, it's the only way for you to be considered to be a master of wine. So then you would go to California for 4 years and do the Master of Wine program.
Wow. Okay, so you would go one more level to get the diploma level, and then you would go get your master's after that?
Yeah, I would go get the Master of Wine. But right now I'm basically waiting for my teacher to become a Master of Wine so that she could teach me the next level.
Okay. And we're getting sidetracked, but I'm fascinated.
Dude, I'm totally impressed, dude. I'm like blown away. This is awesome.
So,
I appreciate it.
So cool. So you go and you do the diploma program. You go and you get your Masters of Wine, and then so what's the goal after that? Are you like a sommelier at a high-end restaurant, or are you?
You can be. You can be.
Yeah. I guess where do you go from there is my question.
I mean, you could be. I mean, you could do basically whatever you want at that point. I mean, you could be a consultant for winemakers. You could, be a taste tester, I guess you call it. I don't know, man. I just love it, so that's what. The same thing with cigars. I don't know where it's going. I don't know where I'm going to end up, but I love it, so I continue to do it. I haven't made $1 yet, so I must like it.
So let's say this. Let's just sum it up real quick. You obviously have a pretty good palate, and now you're making cigars. Would I be correct in that assumption?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
So Logan likes to boil it down all the way.
I'm boiling it down for
just
you.
Boil it down to the base. Wow. So from what you've learned with wine, we're going way off topic, but that's okay. I'm going to try to pull it back here. From what you've learned from your wine studies, what do you take from that and use when you're blending your cigars?
I've said it to like a million people, and I'll say it a million more times. Is it's all about balance, man. No matter what. And that's what, when you said that the purple's a little bit spicy on the end, that, I'm really hoping, because when I smoked it off the table, I noticed that myself, and I'm counting on it toning down over time, because it generally does.
Yeah.
So my main goal is all about balance. It's about taking, if I'm going to take something that's really extreme, like a broadleaf, you got to back it up. Because broadleaf, as you guys know, is really sweet. So I want to back that up with a lot of Ligero, so that you have that nice balance between spicy and sweet. And it's the same when you pair anything. You either want to totally compare flavors or totally contrast flavors. And for me, that's the most important thing. So you never want to be like too much in one direction or too much in the other. I'm like a medium-bodied cigar, but with a lot of flavor and a lot of complexity.
Okay. Yeah, this is great. Okay, guys, we got a break coming up here, but we'll talk more about cigars on the other side of the break, I promise. And welcome back to Cigar Chat, brought to you live on CigarFederation.com. Broadcast around the world, the Armed Forces Radio Network. Thank you for tuning in and spending some time with us today. We appreciate it. We're here with Tony Bellato of La Barba Cigars. And oddly enough, we've been talking mainly about wine because he really knows his stuff. But Logan, do we got a sponsor for this first section?
Let's keep talking about wine.
No, it's brought to you by La Barba Cigars, right?
Sure. Why don't you read? Yeah, go ahead and say it.
Brought to you by La Barba Cigars with the original. So the original La Barba is just called La Barba, right? It's the original La Barba.
Yeah, they're all called La Barba.
And this is the purple label is a new one.
Yeah, we didn't want to get too complicated, and we just wanted to keep it simple and let the cigar speak for itself. So with this Dominican blend, we just kind of changed the color of the label, and that's it. So the first one was red, and this one's purple.
So that's red drink. This purple drink.
Yeah, red drink, purple drink.
Got it.
Got it. Okay. So you can check them out, LaBarbaCigars.com. Okay. So, where was it? We were talking about wine, and we were talking about pairings, And you know, I want to talk to you offline. We actually have a pairing show that I want to talk to you about. So I'm gonna recruit you to be on that. And actually, our next show is about wine. So.
Oh, perfect. There you go.
You can give us some pointers or something on that. So, tell me a little bit about. I love the band. The artwork on the band is just the straight razor. It reminds me of Sweeney Todd, which I'm not a big fan of musicals, but I actually like that one. I don't know if you've seen that one with Johnny Depp and.
I actually haven't.
No, you haven't seen it.
No,
it's actually pretty good. My wife has a theater background, so she loves musicals and whatnot, and I sit through them because I kind of have to, but I actually enjoyed that one. But anyway, that's what it reminds me of. So give us some of the background on the name.
Well, Craig Rossi, my partner, and I were, you know, we wanted to make a cigar. We just sat down, 2010, and we really wanted to get in the industry. The big thing is we love the industry, and it's more important to us to be involved in it as much as we can than it is to, you know, make money doing it. And that's what our core value lies. And our core values also lie in what makes someone an individual, or what gives someone that difference between someone else. And I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, how guys wear their facial hair. And we were talking about it. We were coming up with all kinds of ideas. You know, it's like naming a musical band. Like sometimes you just come up with a bunch of ideas sitting around a round table, and none of them seem to work. And Craig and I looked at each other and we said, well, what makes everyone that we know that's a part of this company unique? And a lot of it has to do with the way that guys wear their facial hair. And it's kind of quirky, I guess, in a way, but in the same respect, you know, some guys have goatees, some guys have full beards, some guys have mustaches. My dad's had a mustache for 50 years. You know, and in addition to that, we kept going, and I learned all the swear words that I know at a barber shop. I learned how to drink at a barbershop. You know, I learned how to smoke cigars at a barbershop because back then,
wow,
you know, you could smoke in a barbershop. And I'm from Youngstown, and, you know, my dad would bring me, and he's going to kill me for saying this, but my dad would bring me to this barbershop where these guys would be playing craps in the back room, street craps in the back room of the barbershop. And to me, that was a very awesome experience about being a man, you know, about that process of coming to age, and I think that's what we're trying to express with La Barba. So that's kind of a breakdown of how it happened.
That's kind of cool. You say back then, like you're old.
Well, I mean, I was old enough to drink in bars and smoke in them at the same time, so it was the same.
You might be a little bit older than you look. Then good for you.
I'm 30, so
yeah.
Oh. Well, no, you look 30. You're like, you crazy kids, I hate you guys. No, it's funny. I can say stuff like that too. Well, back then when you could, you know, smoke in a bar or something, even though I was
probably when gas was $1 a gallon.
Yeah. It was when I went away to college at Sacramento State. It was 98 cents at Arco, 98 cents a gallon. And I think my rent in the apartment that we were in, a 3-bedroom, 800 square foot apartment, and my rent was like $200. Jesus, a month. Unbelievable. Wow. And that was 98, 99, not that long ago. But I guess I'm old enough to have that issue. But go ahead.
So, and so I mean, obviously, I don't know a ton about your stuff, Tony. But my question would be is that I know you guys are tied in with I mean, not tied in, probably not the right word, but you guys are friendly with Caldwell. You guys have done the Impromptu. Give us a little bit of background on your relationship with Caldwell and Impromptu.
Robert and I became friends about 3 years ago, and the original La Barba Red was blended at the Wynwood Cigar Factory, and Robert and I have maintained our friendship throughout that. And after he decided to do his own thing with the Venturas, he called me and said, "Hey, you got to come down and meet Henderson and try some of the cigars that they're making down there." And I went down there and I fell in love. So that's the story of the new La Barba and kind of where me and Robbie went from there. And in the meantime, my girlfriend is Robert's best friend. So I met her through him. So we're kind of like this big mess of a family, I guess, at this point. And you know, we traveled to Italy together, and we'll go to the Dominican Republic together. And through those travels, we found cigars that didn't have a home. You know, stuff that were pilot batches and stuff that we just smoked that we thought that was awesome. And that's where the impromptu thing kind of came from, was like, hey, we found these cigars, we didn't blend them, they were blended a long time ago. The tobacco's, you know, 8 to 10 years old, the cigars are 8 to 10 years old, or, you know, however it works and whatever cigars we use. It's like, those cigars need a home, we think they're good, and some people may like them and some people may not. And that's where it kind of came from.
That's cool. I didn't know that. Anyway, I'm speechless.
No, yeah,
well,
that's...
you know, and it kind of came from, in the idea, you know, in the wine world, in Burgundy, you know, what they have is they're called negociants, and Hunter Vogel, who from Treasure Hunter Wines, is like a neo-negociant. What he does is he buys wines that don't have homes and he gives them a home in a bottle, and that's what guys in Burgundy have been doing for, you know, 1,000 years. What they'll do is they'll connect growers with, like, wine growers with winemakers, and they'll provide them with the bottling, the packaging, and kind of get them, you know, into the U.S. market or, you know, the foreign market or whatever. And that's kind of the approach we're taking with this brand is, you know, we'll match up people that need to be matched up, or we'll find stuff that's in a cellar somewhere. We think it's good. We hope that you guys think it's good as well, and that's the whole concept behind that.
Where is Treasure Hunter's Hunter Vogel? Where is he based?
He actually lives in Idaho. He's really outdoorsy kind of guy. So he has a big house, like a big property in Idaho that they go fly fishing on and stuff like that. And then his partner Andrew Lerner lives in Colorado, but they're both from Napa.
I know the name. I know the name, but I imagine a lot of people know the name. But the name struck a chord with me, because I guess it's the kind of name that you wouldn't necessarily mix up with anybody else.
Right.
So from the Impromptu stuff, you guys had 3 releases from Impromptu, I think, or 2.
5.
5. Oh, I missed a few.
Yeah, we had
Stout.
Backdoor Bambi.
Oh, I missed that one.
Stout, Backdoor Bambi, One Night Stand, and then there was one called Last Reserve. That was a Lancero that Robbie found in Costa Rica, of all places. And it was like 20 years old. It was awesome.
Wow. Well, I know we've got you gave us some samples of the Stout at the show, so we'll get a group review. I think Surgeon and Jared and I will be reviewing that one pretty soon. So I'm looking forward to that. What's that?
It's a great cigar, man.
Yeah, I've heard good things about all of them. So I'm eager to check it out. Let's see. Logan, unless you have any questions you want to ask, I'm gonna start jumping into the audience questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this one's from Mark Anthony. He says La Barba has been around for a few years, and he's not all that familiar with the company. What are some of your plans to reach out to generate more interest and knowledge of La Barba?
You know, for Craig and I, the whole thing is very grassroots. You know, we both have, you know, I have the shops, and Craig's an engineer, and you know, our whole thing is a very grassroots kind of thing. You know, I'm only making enough cigars that I can manage. We're only doing enough things, you know, we're only making enough cigars so that we know that everyone is what we want to put on the table. And as we grow, it'll grow. And for now, you know, this first batch of purples is only 5,000 cigars. So it's 1,000 cigars in 5 different sizes. So, you know, we're trying to grow, and we want to put them, you know, it's like George Rodriguez always says, who's a good friend of mine, you know, we're trying to put the cigars into people's hands that want to smoke them. And that's our big thing. And that's the most important thing that we have. So we're trying to partner up with great retailers that want to support us, that want to have our product in the store, that want to smoke our stuff. And you know, we've been making some good headway that way thus far. If that makes any sense.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny when I see guys, and Mark Anthony, he comments on, he's real active on the site, comments a lot. And I'm really familiar with seeing La Barba everywhere. I mean, you guys have been on social media a lot, you know, since you started, and I mean, for obvious reasons. You can manage it yourself, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
But I see this stuff, and it's, I mean, especially on Instagram. I mean, I've been seeing you guys all the time, and I think that's how we first met, was through Instagram. And it surprises me that sometimes people aren't familiar with some of these, I don't know if you want to call them ultra boutiques or whatever you want to call them. Is that
Nano boutique.
Nano boutique, there you go. I mean, yeah, exactly. Grab that URL while you're sitting there, Logan. So I got another question here from Jason Hill.
Okay.
He says, how long are your cigars aged before they're shipped, and can you go into a little bit of detail about your rolling process?
Yeah, absolutely. They're minimum of 8 weeks, and I like to try them. I like to try them throughout. You know, obviously you got the ones at the show that were 2 days old.
So 8 weeks once they're rolled? Wow.
2 months.
Yeah. That's what that's what I like to stick to. I mean, that's what the Venturas say. You know, it's a learning process for me as well, and the Venturas know tobacco better than a lot of people. And when I talk to Henderson about, you know, how long he thinks, you know, he generally says 6 to 8 weeks. I'm waiting 8 on these La Barba, so they've been done. All 5 sizes have been done on this production for about 8 weeks now. So when I release them, they will be cigars 8 weeks. But the tobacco itself is a couple years old, you know. And we get our tobacco from Leo Reyes, and his tobacco. I mean, the tobacco that he has there is just lights out, and he won't even let me smoke pachuches of it, like little cigars, unless he thinks it's ready. Oh. So there's a very good check and balance system between with Leo and with Henderson and myself and, you know, Robbie, that where we'll sit and smoke and say, well, here's, you know, even with Caldwell stuff, we'll say this is how much time this cigar needs, but we already know that Henderson and Leo, who grows the tobacco, approve that it's ready to be put in a cigar. You know.
Okay, we'll get into that. We'll get more audience questions and a little more detail on the purple when we get back from this break. Hey guys, welcome back to Cigar Chat, brought to you live at CigarFederation.com, broadcast around the world, the Armed Forces Radio Network. We are here with Tony Bellato of La Barba Cigars, and we're talking about the new purple and then, you know, some of their blending process. You had mentioned, Tony, that the purple's coming in 5 different sizes. It's the 5x50 Robusto, which is what I smoked. Corona Gorda, Logan will like that, a 5.75 by 46.
My favorite size.
Yeah, that's a good size. Logan likes that size too. Toro's 6x54 and a Lancero 7x38 and a Magnum 6x60. Wow, you kind of hit all the you hit the small ring gauge and the big ring gauge in there.
Well, the Lancero actually, ironically enough, I don't know if I told you or not, but we changed the ring gauge of the Lancero to 40.
Okay.
Because of the wrapper that we're using in this crazy Carbonell tobacco. And we kept smoking the 38 ring gauge, and the Carbonell tobacco is very aromatic and very, very potent, and it's very floral smelling, and we just couldn't get enough tobacco to put 1 leaf of that Carbonell in there. We couldn't get enough tobacco in the cigar in a 38 to balance that flavor out. So I'm calling it a wide Lancero, I guess. It's the closest thing I could come up with to name that. So it's a 7x40. Okay. Technically, yeah.
And then just to get into the crux of the cigar itself, HVA Habano Ecuadorian wrapper, Dominican Corojo binder, and the filler. I'm reading this straight off your press release, so bear with me. Comprised of Corojo, HVA Habano, and the rare varietal, the Carbonell that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit. What's the story with this Carbonell?
Oh, this story. So we were sitting around. There's a lot to this story that this is kind of amusing, but I'll hit the key points. We were sitting around smoking and blending different things, and Craig brought up to Henderson's dad, William, you know, what is the hardest tobacco that you've ever blended with that you love? and he said Carbonell, and we were like, you know, what the heck is Carbonell? We've never heard of this tobacco. So we drove over to Leo's warehouses and found this Carbonell tobacco, and it's very, they grow very limited quantities of it because it's really hard to grow. It's almost like Pinot Noir.
Okay.
And we smoked, you know, they call them different things all over the place, but in the Dominican they call them pachuche. So we pull out some leaves and smoke this pachuche, and it was like, this tobacco was like nothing I've ever smoked before. It was floral and very aromatic and very, you could pick it out in a room full of people smoking cigars, and that's what we loved about it. So we went with, we brought it back to the factory along with the other tobaccos that we liked, and we went through like 5 or 6 wrappers trying to get this blend right. And we came down to 2. We came down to Negrito wrapper, and we came down to the HVA Habano wrapper. And I was smoking them. Craig was smoking them, and we finally settled on the age on the Habano wrapper, because it really brings that sweet, spicy, and floral. It brings it all together in a very well balanced, you know, approachable yet full-bodied, complex cigar. So it was kind of something that we found on a whim and just went with it and tried to blend with it. And then if we couldn't blend with it, then it would have just been lost again forever, I guess. You know.
If you can't blend with it, it's still a good experience, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever even heard of Carbonell before. And really, the HVA Habano Ecuadorian, you don't hear too much about that particular leaf as well either.
Right.
So it's a unique cigar. It does have a unique flavor profile. You mentioned a few times the floral notes. I didn't really get a lot of floral notes when I was smoking it, but that means they're probably
you
there.
You have a top 2% palate, Rob.
No. What I was saying was I didn't get them, so they're probably there.
That's probably true.
But thank you, though. I appreciate that.
Anyways, it's all in fun, my friend.
No, I know. Yeah, no, you guys got to check this out. We've got a bunch to give away later on in the show. And let me get back to the questions here. I managed to get away from the question page. Logan, feel free to jump in if you like, but I
would love to ask questions. So it's such small batch productions. I mean, 5,000 cigars. I mean, it's great that you're able to produce such small batches, but I mean, I guess it's a two-part question. Is, you know, you guys did very well with the Red Drank on the new media consensus compiled by Half last year. I think you guys were like 18th or 17th. You guys have done very well. I know a lot of people talk about your cigars. So one, how was your trade show? And two, if the demand is where I think it is, why are you doing such small batch productions?
You know, the trade show was good. I was at the trade show as a retailer. I had a lot of meetings. You know, I didn't have a booth this year just because don't have any money. You know, we put it all in the cigars, and I hope to next year. That's something that Craig and I have been talking about. The reason why we haven't made the move past that 1,000 cigar production is because I'm not comfortable with making more cigars than that right now, because I want to make sure that we maintain the quality of the cigar that we have. And a big thing for me is if I smoke, you know, for example, 1 out of 1,000 of those cigars, then that's a better percentage of the cigars being right than if I smoked 1 out of 10,000. So I'm at that point where I'm figuring out that important step in quality control, and I'd rather be, you know, out of cigars and know that everyone that's been smoked has been great, than produce more than I feel comfortable producing right now. So it could be different in a year. You know, if I get to a point where I'm more comfortable in doing this, then we'll get there. But right now, this is where I feel comfortable, and I don't want to get outside that comfort zone, I guess.
Okay, got it.
That was a heavy question, Logan.
Well, I'm just asking. I mean, I hear nothing but good stuff. I haven't smoked your stuff because apparently I'm not cool enough to get this new age Dominican thing, and like, you know what I mean? I'm not hip enough to get it. And the last new age Dominican I smoked, I didn't like it, and I got absolutely destroyed. But well, that's another story for another time. But no, I mean, I just hear nothing but good things. I hear you guys talk about your cigars a lot, and I was curious of the impetus of the low amounts. And I mean, it makes sense. You got to keep the quality control of it, but at the same time, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to make money eventually, or you won't be able to do this, right? So I was just curious, kind of the balance. But yeah, that's it. Inquisitive question.
We'll get to the money making one day.
I hope so. I hope you do.
Thank you.
I'd like
to make a cigar and wine pairing, dude. I'm telling you, I don't know. I just find you very interesting. This whole wine thing.
No, I'm telling you, it's Bellato's Cigar and Wine Bar franchise across the country.
We're working on something. We're working on it. There's always something cooking.
It's already there. It's already done. Logan, I think you're gonna like the purple. I know you've got one. I think you got one at IPCPR. It's in one of your bags somewhere, I think.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
But I think you will enjoy it. It's got enough kick for you.
How does the red compare to the purple drink?
As I said offline, you're throwing me under the bus. I haven't. Tony sent me some reds a while ago. I haven't smoked one yet.
Well, you called yourself out there. I wasn't even directing that at you. I was directing that at our Steve.
Well, never mind then. Go ahead, Tony. Take that one.
It's a totally different cigar. So the red had a Corojo wrapper from Honduras. It had Corojo Ligero from Honduras. It had Criollo 98 from Nicaragua, and it had Pay de Oro from Peru. So a whole different cigar. It's hard to explain. Like the body is there. The body is the same. So we're right in this like medium-bodied realm. But the spice notes are a little bit different. We're going to get on the red a lot more pepper actually than the purple. There's a lot more toasted marshmallow, graham cracker in the red, and for me in this one it's a lot more of that's like Rob said that caramelly sweet, with also the floral that you guys don't think it has, but that's where they're the same balance for us, but just with different flavor components.
Makes perfect sense. So you're saying if someone is, smoking, Nicaraguan puros like myself, and is, crack addict for Nicaraguan tobacco, most likely will gravitate more towards the red or the purple grain.
You're gonna have to smoke them both and tell me.
Well, I plan on it, but I'm curious.
They're both honestly, man. They're both very unique cigars. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. And I know a lot of guys like Matty at my Akron store that he's like you. He loves Nicaraguan cigars, and he really likes the purple, but he also really liked the red. But it's something different, and it's something to put in your rotation of say 5 cigars where you don't burn yourself out on Nicaraguan puro or Honduran tobacco. You can put this in your rotation of 5 and have like a nice refresher. It's almost like a palate cleanse.
Ooh, palate cleanse. I like the way this sounds because I need a palate cleanse. I smoke way too much. But anyway,
you need something. I mean, you wouldn't. When we were talking about the facial hair before, we neglected to mention neck beard. That's the other.
Trademark.
Beard. Yeah, trademark. You and Kyle Orton, neck beard.
Yeah, I actually worked on my neck beard when I got home at 7 o'clock because I had a pretty fierce neck beard earlier. So
yeah,
you gotta let it rock, man. Let it rock.
Just
all the ladies.
Just
you guys should see Craig. He's got 3 different beards. He's got a top face beard, a middle beard, and a neck beard. He's got as much beard as one person could possibly have.
I don't even know what to do with that. It concerns me what's in between the beards. Like, anyway, moving on.
Cigars.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I've got a big question here. We've got about 10 minutes left. And this is a big question for Man Angel, so this might be the last one that we get to. There have been some great smokes coming out of the Tabacalera William Ventura. So it's like William Ventura is changing the game using unique small batch tobaccos. So I'm really curious to know if the blending process is a bit more difficult because you guys are blending with tobaccos that have never really been used before. So how do these small batch tobaccos even come into existence? And lastly, and I'll go back over these. Since these tobaccos, I assume, are really limited, do you guys have to map out what tobaccos you intend on blending with in hopes of getting the exact flavor profile you're looking for without wasting any of the limited inventory?
I love that guy.
Whoo! Okay, let's start with the first one. So, ask me that first question again.
Yeah, it was a long one, so I should have broken it up. I apologize. So he says it's like Henderson, or it's like William Ventura is changing the game using unique small batch tobaccos. So I'm really curious to know if the blending process is a bit more difficult because you guys are blending with tobaccos that have not been readily used before.
It's almost impossible. So that is where that's the most difficult thing, and I gotta again give props to Robbie when he has, for me, in my experience, in the cigars that he likes and the tobaccos that he likes, and Henderson, those guys are my like inspiration to try to get to. Those guys have unbelievable palates and they know exactly where to put things in the big puzzle, if that makes any sense. So Robbie can smoke something or Henderson can smoke something and say, it needs this specific tobacco. I can say it needs a little bit more sweetness or it needs a little bit more spice. And I could say things like that, but Robbie and Henderson and William can say, this is exactly the tobacco that you need. And then that's how we kind of do that process with La Barba. And without those guys as mentors and without those guys behind us, then we wouldn't be able to do it at all. And that's really what it comes down to. Robbie and Henderson really put a lot of time in understanding varietals of tobacco, why they're important, and what role they have to play in a cigar. And that's my big. That's why I'm with these guys. Not only are they my family, but they're my inspiration. I gotta go with that. So.
Okay. All right. No, these are great questions. Let's see. That's
it.
We're done?
Well, for this segment, and then we get to go to the fun segment. We get to cuss all over the place.
Oh, well, okay, guys. If you're listening on AFRN, you're going to have to come check us out on CigarFederation.com and get the rest of the answer to that particular question because we are out of time. Tony, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I know we got a little bit off the topic and started talking about wine, but it was a lot of fun. So,
my pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. No, we appreciate you being here, and everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you taking some time out of your day. I know you got a lot more important things to do than sit here and listen to us wax on about cigars and wine and stuff, but we really do appreciate it. Logan, we're going to be back next week with...
Yeah, hold on. I know you always ask me.
You have one job to do.
Listen, I have a lot of jobs to do. One is run this whole site and make sure... Never mind, I won't get there. It'll be next Thursday with Villiger.
Next Thursday with Fabian from Villiger. That'll be a lot of fun. So, guys, it'll be even more fun. It's gonna be me and the Canadian.
Exactly.
That's what we assume. Anyway, guys, appreciate it. Thanks for checking us out. CigarFederation.com. We'll be back next week. Again, we appreciate the support. Everybody, stay safe.
Later.
Thanks, guys.
And we're fucking back to my final segment where I can cuss and do what I want. Stupid. Anyway,
it's got to be hard to hold that in that entire time.
Dude, it's so fucking tough, bro. It's so tough.
I think for the average person, it's not that difficult, but for Logan, especially lately, because you've got to be building up some F-bombs in there with chasing the Rugrats around.
She's not very mobile yet, but you can only get puked on so many times until you lose it. Do you know what I mean? There's a finite amount of times you get to change your shirt until you just fucking lose it.
So yeah, I don't do well with vomit. I mean, vomit of any kind. I mean, if I see it, I tend to do it. So I don't know if I would do well with babies.
Yeah,
I'm in the alcohol business, man. I get thrown up on all the time.
Yeah, I would rather definitely have baby puke on me than like drunk person.
Than chunky puke.
Chunky pizza puke.
Yeah. Let's move on. Yeah. I do want to get back to the last part of that question.
Yeah, go ahead.
From Man Angel. He says,
how are we going to do these giveaway real quick? How are we going to do these so we just know, so we can like get it rocking?
Okay, we're giving away what, five packs, yeah?
Five packs, correct.
Five packs for the live viewers, 2 5-packs.
Like now.
Yeah, and then 2 5-packs for the podcast listeners.
Correct, and let's just preface, these cigars won't be in the country for a couple of weeks. So if you email Rob or I asking where your cigars are,
you lose.
I'm hand bringing them back from the Dominican Republic for you guys. So
that's how important you guys are.
No,
so
for
don't
real,
email us and annoy me.
Seriously, I mean, the people who win are going to be amongst the first people in the country to smoke this cigar, right?
Absolutely, they will be basically the first. I mean, I gave one ones of my guys in Akron today, and those were, besides the trade show, the first people that I've ever seen them.
Yeah. So I mean, that's really cool. I mean, obviously we appreciate your time and all that, but to bring some stuff that, I mean, retailers haven't even tried this yet. So
No.
So that's really cool that you guys are getting a pretty unique experience. So anyway, so it'll be probably early September is when we're going to be shipping these out. So you guys will have to be a little bit patient. So Logan, we're going to pick 5 winners tonight, 2 or 4 winners tonight. 5 winners.
Let's do 4 tonight, and then we'll do 1 for the podcast.
Okay, 4 tonight and 1 podcast. Okay. So for the podcast, since you people are going to have to email me at rob@cigarfederation.com, I need you, the podcast people, and if you're not following me on Instagram, you need to start. So the first podcast person to email me and tell me where I'm going next week, or no, going tomorrow, where I'm going and why, is going to win that 5-pack. That's for the podcast. There you go, Logan.
Does anybody care?
No, but they're going to have to now because they're going to win something.
Well, that's just true. I know what city you're going to, but I don't know why.
Well,
that's how good of friends we are. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the people that are getting the 5-packs tonight, we're not going to do anything crazy. We're just going to make it simple. Email me, Logan@CigarFederation.com. Purple drink as the subject line with your full name and mailing address. And then I'll just stack them up, purple drink, and then we'll pick numbers 1 through how many ever entries, and we'll do it that way. No fun stories or anything. I don't really have the patience for it. So
what about
your question, Rob?
Should they tell you how long it took Callie to poop?
No, we're not going to even get yet there. We're not even going to go there because I'm probably going to walk down to a blowout.
Okay, just an epic blowout. Okay, so we're going to finish off Man Angel's question. And by the way, with those ice bucket challenges, there was absolutely no question as to whether there was any ice in his bucket.
Oh, no. And he didn't even flinch either. He
crushed it.
He crushed it.
And I'll be honest, I set mine up. I had the big 5-gallon bucket, and I put water in there. And I'll be honest, I put water in from the hose, and it was kind of warm because it's California. And I threw some ice in there, and my wife was like, dude, if you're going to do this, you got to do it. She took all the ice from our ice maker and dumped it all in there and put more water in there. So I did not.
She's a hard ass.
She doesn't screw around, man. I mean, she doesn't screw around. Anyway, okay. Back to the question. Lastly, we're talking about these small batch tobaccos. Since these tobaccos, I assume, are very limited, do you guys have to map out the tobaccos that you intend to use on blending in hopes of getting the flavor profile you're looking for without wasting any of the limited tobacco inventory? I think from that what he means is the tobaccos that you're going to use to pair with them in the blend.
I mean, it's unfortunately a sacrifice that we have to make to make sure the cigar's good. And, you know, we went through, with this purple and the Carbonell tobacco, I mean, we probably went through 75 or 100 cigars. And unfortunately, we wasted that tobacco, but with this Carbonell, we've specifically, and I can't speak for anybody else, but with this cigar specifically, we used so little of it because it's so powerful that it's like less than 10% of the cigar. So yeah, we had to go through a lot to get it there. And yeah, it's tough to grow, but in the same respect, we're using such little amounts of it, and we're putting it all together in such a way where we'll have enough to make enough. And when it's gone, I mean, that's the nature of a limited edition cigar. When we run out of tobacco, that's as many cigars as we can make, and that's an unfortunate byproduct of what we're trying to do. But at the end of the day, if I'm out of Carbonell tobacco, we're not making any La Barba purples.
Now, is the purple limited to begin with?
Not intentionally.
Okay.
You know, again, it harps to the question. Probably, if I run out of tobacco.
Eventually, it is. Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, I don't know. We're working like with what he said, such limited quantities of these tobaccos that, you know, if we run out, then that's it, and there's nothing we could do about it. And hopefully we don't run out over the course of the next year or the next growing season, but I mean, hopefully we do.
Okay. So we've got. I want to just get into a couple more questions here because there's a few that I think people want to know.
How many bracelets do you own?
A lot.
You man accessorize often.
Yeah, I mean these don't really come off. So
Like
I have
even
I have like a really little weak wrist underneath of it. It's like white and shriveled up.
Atrophy?
Yeah.
That's
You could blame Caldwell for that one. I wore bracelets before, but then he went on a trip to Chile with my lady, and they were going to vacation, and they got back, and all of a sudden I had 60 bracelets on. So
he went with her lady on vacation to a foreign country.
They're best friends, man.
All right, that's cool. I mean, all right. And he brought you back bracelets.
And he brought me back bracelets. She brought me back bracelets, too.
She brought you back, okay.
They
both did, it sounds like. I mean, if you got 60 of them, somebody's bringing them. I mean, both people are bringing them back. I hate to get off the jewelry topic, but got a question here from Stefan Lindblad. I always say his name wrong, Stefan. And by the way, Stefan, we talked about you offline. That package that I sent to you and got sent back to me, it was all jacked up. You're going to get it on Wednesday.
Right.
And I'm not sure if you're even here, but I'm asking your question. So this is going to speak to a lot of the guys who maybe don't have a good B&M near them or a B&M that carries you. He says, I've seen La Barba for sale on a couple of online retailers. Do you intend to expand your online sales or remain focused on brick and mortar?
Well, I mean, for me, with the online guys that I do have, I pick retailers that I know, again, are going to support the brand. And Dan at New Havana has La Barbas, and he is basically, I mean, he is a brick and mortar. And he respects brands, and he really does a good job with that website. So we have no problem with people that want to have the cigar as far as online retailers. We just want to make sure that they're as good as Dan as far as brick and mortar style, the way that they approach the business and the way that they respect the customers as well as the manufacturers, and that's where we're going to go with that. So
it's at newhavanacigars.com, right? And then anywhere else that people can find you online?
You can call Matty Cupcakes in Akron. He's always there.
Matty Cupcakes?
Yeah, Matty Cupcakes.
For those who might not be in the know, how can they get a hold of Matty Cupcakes?
They do Google him.
You call his name and he comes.
Just
Matty Cupcakes. No,
I'm waiting for him to show up.
Yeah. I'm Googling him right now.
No, he runs the Havana House West.
Okay.
You could get him on Instagram at Matty Cupcakes, or you can call the shop. It's 664-1655-330 area code.
Okay.
Sorry.
There you go.
Just search Matty Cupcakes and you'll find them.
Matty Cupcakes. And if you find something that maybe you didn't want to find, that's your problem.
I'm not responsible.
That's your problem, not mine. So let's see. I want to go through some of these questions. We kind of touched on most of these. Oh, okay. This is how we did not ask this question, since you're the wine guy. What's with the La Barba purple and the red, the original? What are your favorite pairings? Those two.
Well, the La Barba red, when my dad and I sat on his back patio, when we were first smoking the samples, we wanted to market it as the perfect cigar with bourbon, because it really is. That cigar was very spicy and very sweet, kind of like some nice Kentucky bourbons. This cigar is a little bit more feminine, which you guys are gonna laugh at me, but the wine I drink and the cigars I smoke are very feminine. Is how I kind of approach it. Floral and pretty and all that crap. So,
not sure.
I'm drinking a cab right now. It goes well with the cab because the cab's got some nice. I mean, it's a California cab, so it's got a lot of nice fruit notes, which gets me, the spicy and the fruit and the kind of a little bit of fruit sweetness that I like goes well with it. But ultimately, with the purple, I would do a Pinot Noir from Burgundy, or I really like this cigar with Brugal rum because that's what I was drinking when I started blending it. So.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Because the rum's very dry and it doesn't have too much of that cloying sweetness.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's got enough backbone of that like kind of molassesy thing that gets you the balance from the spice from the cigar, especially at the end.
Yeah. Okay. You give me all kinds of shit. I gave the cigar a 90. I loved it, but I did not get a lot of floral notes. But that, like I said before, that probably means that they're there. And so what kind of what rum was that? Brugal, you said?
Yeah, Brugal. Brugal's awesome.
I've never tried Brugal before. I'm Googling it right now.
Dude, and it is cheap, man. It's like $13 a bottle. And in the Dominican Republic, it's like $2.
Huh.
So,
oh, I've seen this, yeah. I've seen it, but I've never had it. Okay. All right, so I think that kind of gets us through all the questions. Logan, do we have winners?
We do. We just we've got 20 entries. We're picking 4, correct?
Correct.
All right, I need Tony to pick out 4 numbers between 1 and 25.
8.
8. That will be James Appello. Congratulations. Big winner. Purple Drain.
6.
I'm a Texican.
Oh,
Big
Texican.
winner.
Yeah, he's good. I like that guy.
Yeah, I know. Purple Drain. Okay.
Purple Drain. 9.
Man, you're picking them all like sub 10. You know we go to 25, right?
It's my birthday. These are the numbers for my birthday. So.
What, 8, 6, 9?
Well, it's 9, 6, 8. Well, I'm not going to tell you the last one yet.
Well, it should be 3. That's Samuel C. Broser.
It's actually 4 because I will be 30. I will be 30 in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So I'm 30.
Basically. Okay, so 3. That is, and the big winner. I mean, where the hell's 3? Aha! Shooter. Shooter's tour. Even though he said, dude, Shooter's legit. Except he said, "Baby, throw up his cue," which makes me question a whole lot of things about Shooter. But that's neither here or there.
I don't know. I think that's kind of right here. I held Shooter in pretty high esteem, and now that's questionable.
Yeah. So we got some new people. Got my favorite Shooter. Everyone else, thanks for entering. Thanks for playing. But no dice. And
we still have the giveaways going on the site, right? Until midnight tonight?
We still do. Yeah, they run till Wednesday. And then the mod, or the member one, where for a 5-pack to write a review. So we're just giving away all types of ish.
Yeah, it's just flying out the door. So
all kinds of purple drink.
I got you saying it now. You're hooked on it, right? You're going to be saying purple drink. Oh, I know.
Everybody that smokes La Barba Purple's got a hashtag purple drink now.
I'm telling you. And you got to give me credit. That's all I care about is credit monkey. That's what they call me.
All right, Tony. We appreciate it, man. We had you here for about an hour, just like I promised.
My pleasure, man. Anytime. Seriously.
Yeah.
And, I appreciate it.
And yeah, we've got like I said, we've got a pairing show that we need to get you on as well. So that'll be fun. We can talk about we'll talk about La Barba, but we can talk about some other stuff too. So again, guys, you can find them LaBarbaCigars.com. It's La Barba Cigars pretty much everywhere, right? But you can look up if you look up Tony Bellato, you can find him as well.
Yep, at Bellato.
At Bellato, okay. BELLATTO.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys are good. That's good.
Well, I looked because I said it a few times in the review, and I'm like, I don't want to be the ass who reviews the cigar and then spells his name wrong. So
you can. It's okay.
I made sure. Guys, we appreciate the support. CigarFederation.com as always. Next week we'll be back with. It looks like I'm running solo next week because the Conscious Canadian's out of town too. So we'll figure that out somehow.
We'll get you like Seth or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll have Seth on. That'll be fun.
He'll do it.
Seth brings me out of my shell a little bit.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Because he gets all fired up. But anyway, Villiger Cigars with Fabian, that'll be a good time. So, guys, appreciate it. CigarFederation.com. Thanks for checking everything out. And everybody have a great week because it's Monday. Have a good week.
Later,
Thanks, guys.